Today, the fairies announced we were having an Enchanted science fair. We had to be put in teams of 2 in order to make our projects. When they explained that I was going to be paired with Amber, I immediately felt intimidated. It's not that she's scary, I just occasionally get this weird feeling around her that I don't know how to describe. Some people put it as butterflies in your stomach, but to me, it's more like a whole garden of butterflies, bees, and hummingbirds in my stomach. I still don't exactly understand why I get this feeling though. One good thing that comes out of working with Amber though, is that she likes to be involved and in charge. Other people usually just have me do all the work. Even if I'm not paired up with them, it seems like I end up completing their work. In a few minutes, I'll be heading over to Enchanted so we can start working on it. I wish myself luck. Wow, I don't even know how to describe what went on today. There are several adjectives that would be accurate. As I expected, Amber kind of took over and became in charge. She decided for us to make lightning in a bottle. I, of course, knew to follow the exact steps, ingredients, and amounts listed in the book in order to achieve the necessary goal. This was immediately proven to be the correct process when it came to the Hocus Crocus. I thought it was going perfectly well until Amber overused the Hocus Crocus. We only needed 7.89% of the amount Amber put in. As soon as the cloud inside the bottle began to grow, I was aware that the result wouldn't be satisfactory. Due to Hocus Crocus being extremely powerful, putting in 12.666 times the proper total would never end well. Next thing we knew, the storm cloud burst out of the bottle, and then lightning struck all across the table that all 3 groups were using. I don't even want to mention how it affected me. We had to start all over. I wasn't too excited for that. I was even more disappointed when we found out all the Hocus Crocus was destroyed. It was the one ingredient all of us needed. There was only one place to get it, Mist Bowl Mountain. Before I had time to think it through, Amber grabbed my hand and rushed me outside. I was still trying to process what was going on. Plus, since we were going to be racing, forming a strategy would have been a perfect option. By the time we got to the carriage, I had a feeling this was a bad idea and tried to convince Amber out of it. After all, choosing a different project to work on would have been much easier. However, I also knew that whatever Amber said goes. So, when I couldn't convince her, I figured following along with her plan was the best way to keep her in a good mood. I much prefer having the garden in my stomach that I usually have around her than her in a frustrated mood. That's when she actually becomes quite scary. I began to tell myself, how bad could this be? We're just trying to get a unique flower. But like always, my self-encouragement is never accurate. We ran into lots of trouble along the way to the mountain. We went from being first to last. I didn't mind that much, but Amber did. By this point, I didn't really care to win this race. I just wanted Amber in a good mood, but we had to be winning to do that, and I had to follow everything the princess said. We reached the crystal forest, and I knew we had to be quiet. I began to decide whether to be cautious or catch up to the others. Before I could make a decision, I looked up to find Amber sprinting ahead, and I had to rush to catch up to her, apologizing to everyone else we passed by. I'm not much of an athlete, so I was exhausted by the time we got out of the forest and to the sign pointing to the top. I had to let this slide though, in order to keep going, stay ahead, and keep Amber pleased. As we neared the top, we ran into musical mist geysers. No one has ever understood how they work. The only information I could recall was that they make certain musical notes depending on the geyser, and that the mist tends to be in colors. However, I also knew that they erupt at random. That was our downfall that I had to warn Amber of. As usual, before I had time to strategize and think of another way around them, Amber pulled and dragged me along. For once, I felt lost and didn't understand what I should be doing other than making it to the other side. The geysers, however, were holding us back. I became even more confused when I later saw Sofia and James making their way through it with ease. Colleen and Vivian soon doing the same. Were they able to predict what geyser would blow next? I still don't understand how easily everyone else came to do it. Amber seemed confused too. She then found following Khalid and Vivian to be a better option, which I agreed with. We later came to an ogre. I became quite timid and paused in fear. I also picked up how irritated he seemed to be from him telling us to deal with it, and talking rather quickly. I stopped to see if Amber had second thoughts, but she continued anyway, so I did the same. I also clued in that the others didn't figure out the riddle he was about to tell us, but as soon as he asked us it, I found it relatively easy. Everything we experienced today was proof of the riddle. Friends are irreplaceable, and should always be treated properly. My confusion came back when Amber told me that Khalid had the Hocus Crocus. Wasn't it at the top of the mountain? How could he have gotten it? She, once again, started pulling me along. We were right back at the geysers, where Amber retrieved the Hocus Crocus. I didn't think it would be fair winning by stealing from the other teams, though. I'm not a huge fan of cheating. I tried to stay back, avoiding the geysers and not getting involved during the fighting, but Amber asked for my help. I knew I wanted to assist her because she was my teammate? Yeah, that. I could barely see what was going on until the bag with the Hocus Crocus fell into a geyser. As soon as it blew out and over the cliff's edge, I quickly recalled my thoughts from the beginning on how this was a bad idea. We all got so mad at each other, and I couldn't understand how we all went from learning and fun to arguing and competing. Due to all the cheating and fighting going on, how was I supposed to trust any of these guys anymore? It was clear by how everyone else acted that one day they'd betray me if it came down to it. Getting back to the Enchanted castle, there was nothing left to do. There was hardly any time to start a new project. I overheard Queen Miranda talk about a floating solar system. I remembered how Amber likes astronomy, and I've read several books on it. It might have been a project both of us would enjoy. I quickly found the page with the instructions and discovered that we didn't even need Hocus Crocus. I continued to read until Amber grabbed the book to see for herself. She then told me how her father explained it was too big of a project for 2 people. Sofia automatically suggested that all 6 of us should work together on it, but I didn't know if I could rely on anyone else at this point. Sofia was quick to remind everyone that we were friends and how friendship is the formula to fixing mistakes and creating what you need. She was right. It was just like the ogre's riddle. We all got ahead of ourselves and started to lose something valuable. Our friendship. Friends are more valuable than gold, but don't cost a penny. They're hard to find, but easy to lose. I snapped myself into reality and knew working together was the best option. Plus, I had fun being paired with Amber while working on the planets. She was the happiest and calmest I saw her all day. Now all that's left is to present our new project tomorrow. Well, we may have lost the fair, but I got a really high grade for it. I'm pretty positive since 6 of us made the project instead of 2, the fairies didn't really count it. 6 students and a project for 2 didn't seem very fair. Heh. But, as said before, I didn't care to win. I just wanted a good grade. Desmond.